Last year's 6 Pro got in its own way in its first few months, with delayed updates, odd glitches, poor biometrics, and worsening performance. Luckily, the 7 Pro hasn't experienced anything like that, and smoothed out every rough surface. The display has been a joy to use, with its silky 120Hz refresh rate making everything feel slick, while it also gets bright enough to keep me happy. I often forget it's even got a curve to it, with how much more subtle it is this year. I do come across the annoying reflections from time to time though, and I gave up on fitting this with a tempered glass screen protector. But it does make holding the device feel nicer, has no touch sensitivity issues along the edges, and makes for more enjoyable gestures. Adding even more enjoyment to everyday use is surprisingly Face Unlock. While the fingerprint reader has been solid for me from the start, it's amazing how the extra convenience and speed really transforms security to become totally effortless. It just needs to be a bit more secure in future. Daily performance has been absolutely perfect day to day, driving that high refresh rate without issue. Not seeing anything in the way of slowdowns or stutters, no matter how much I neglect the open tabs in Chrome. On paper, the Tensor G2 does like the grunt of the competition, especially in the GPU department, but in practice, it's not noticeable, except maybe in gaming? The G2 is Google's second attempt at a semi-custom chip, and maybe it's still too early, but the benefits have so far been on the lighter side. Maybe it's responsible for keeping device costs down, not needing to pay those huge Qualcomm licensing fees. I'm not sure, but it does at least drive some unique AI processors. This could probably be achieved by simply using more powerful CPUs though, evident with the likes of Magic Eraser filtering into other devices. But as onboard machine learning gets more powerful, it will be interesting to see what will be possible in the future. I'm not holding my breath for a deviation from the Samsung Exynos hand-me-downs anytime soon though. On the software front, the G2 appears to be more stable than the previous Tensor chip, with the 7 series not suffering rollout delays that plagued the Pixel 6. We did experience a few slower updates though, but that was across the whole Pixel range and not due to any 7 series fault. The Pixel UI skin is one of my favourites too, but it could still use some conveniences found in other skins, even as basic as double tap to turn the screen on and off, or a useful and reliable flashlight gesture. I do really love some features that I'd seriously miss anytime I use a different device though. These are often subtle additions, like the first-rate spam filtering, text and image selection on the app switcher, and rules integration, so I no longer need to use Tasker for my basic behaviours. Other than the clean UI, the other big Pixel feature is the camera, and it hasn't disappointed, keeping things simple to get the best shot possible. Portrait and lowlights look good, the 5x zoom is fantastic, but even more than that, being able to use the 10x and 2x in near full quality has made things incredibly flexible. In the past, I would never even attempt a 10x shot of anything I care about, but now I find myself using it rather frequently to get sneaky sleeping dog pictures without disturbing her with my approach. While less useful, I do still find it remarkable that I can get a serviceable photo even at 30 times when I see something cool in the distance, but it is mostly a party trick. Battery life has been pretty good, but not great. While it has just about always gotten me to the end of the day with juice left in the tank, I did notice that when I spent days outdoors, a very rare thing, it would get down to more anxiety-inducing levels, where I expect the radio and screen were sipping a fair bit more power. Daily overnight charging for 7 months has been fine on battery health though, with it still holding steady at 98%. Going from the good to the average now, and we do have a few bugs that I've come across, but it's actually not too bad. First is the weird scrolling issue, which frequently gets reported. It's hardly something I notice or even see, but I do still come across it on occasion, where it just feels like scrolling isn't as easy as it should be. But maybe it's all in my head. The other issue I had was a loss of touch response on the home screen after dismissing the notification shade. What ended up happening was the shade didn't retract all the way and just needed a little flick up. But I only saw this issue a handful of times, and it hasn't reoccurred within the past few months. Not a bad list of issues considering how many plagued the Pixel 6. Google has really learnt from its mistakes, and even after 7 months with the Pixel 7 Pro, it continues to be a worthy flagship. One of the best and easiest to use camera systems, paired with a reliable, clean experience and attractive hardware, all at a price that's much lower than the competition. I can genuinely say that the Pixel 7 Pro has finally made me excited to see what Google will do with the Pixel range in the future.